Hey, awesome people. Welcome back to the channel. Today is all about Scream 6. Yes! Second time seeing it today. Just got back with my dear friend Starshine. Shout out, Star. What up? Just saw it in 3D. I wouldn't say it's necessary to see it in 3D, but it does add like a lot of really cool texture to it, especially being in New York where there's so many layers and like lots of different like dimensions to everything. Not that there isn't already 3 dimensions, but you know what I mean? Like it can expand upon itself. Star, thank you so much for this for my belly button birthday. It's coming up in a week. What? Everyone needs their own little ghost face. You know what I'm saying? Little ghost face in your life. And I'm happy to say that, we all got a little ghost face back in our lives. Scream 6 dropped this Friday, Thursday if you're lucky. I saw it on Friday night with my immediate family, my stepkids and their other stepdad and a family friend, and we all screamed with delight. I got to say, watching it the first time was a little bit like, I was really anxious. This is a franchise that's near and dear to me. You can tell I got like a Scream poster in the background. I've loved this since I was a senior in high school. The first one came out in 1996. I was like 18. I remember going to the theater because it was getting such positive word of mouth. And then a year later, Scream 2 came out. And that is the one that kind of blew me out of the water. Jada Pinkett at the beginning with Omar Epps and their characters like getting cut the fuck up in the middle of a theater showing Stab, which is the movie within a movie about what had happened to the original characters, Sidney and Randy and everybody from the first movie. It was just so brilliant and it was so well done, and the college campus and everything like that. So what's cool about Scream 6 is it does a lot of homage back to that original Scream 2, basically, which was interesting to me. So, Sam and Tara, if you remember from part 5, they are now in New York City. Sam basically, this is a spoiler-filled review. I'm not going to go too heavy into it, but I definitely will drop bombs about what happened. So please go watch it first. I don't want you to spoil it for yourself or have it spoiled for you. Seeing who is the reveal or seeing who the killer is such a fun thing, especially when you don't know. I had Scream 5 ruined for me. I ended up accidentally looking in the comment section off of Instagram, and somebody said it's Richie and Amber, and I was like, what? No, it's not. I'm like, no, nobody's gonna spoil it on the fucking Friday of the movie dropping, and sure as fuck, it was Richie and Amber. So that was really, really obnoxious. So please, hopefully you saw spoilers, in my description for this video. This is a spoiler-filled review. So go watch it. Give these guys money. Give Paramount money so that they'll make a Scream 7, baby. Because we need a Scream 7, and I'm hoping that they'll do it. So we're in New York, right? So we have Sam, we have Tara. Tara's going to college. The Mindy and Chad, the Meeks Martin twins, joined them. They're their friends. They're called the Core, or Chad lovingly calls them the Core 4, which I just think is adorable and will stick with me forever. That's one of the things that this movie does the most is create a sense of family, and is so character driven in terms of helping us as the audience to fall in love with these 4 new, they're not even new, this is their second film, but to me they felt new. To me I finally was like, yes, these are my people. But that's the same thing that happened with Scream 2. I love Sidney, I loved Gale, Dewey, but they're all fresh. These are fresh new people. One of the things that I always like about franchise movies, especially horror films, especially when you get the final girl returning or final people returning now, is you get a chance to deepen your connection with them and deepen your desire for them to survive and to continue to thrive and figure out how to overcome everything. It's such a fucking great metaphor for life. And I think it's one of the reasons why I love horror movies, because it just keeps coming at you. And you either learn to process that and learn to survive and take the monsters out, so to speak. It's all hyper hyperbolic. But you do, and that's one of the best lines in this is Kirby's back, Kirby Reed from Scream 4. She was the kind of film nerd or whatever, one of them, Jill Roberts' best friend. Jill ends up being the murderer in that. She's the one that almost nearly takes it out. She was the closest Ghostface to do so. And Kirby in Scream 4, the most of us all thought that she died. She takes 2 stab wounds to the gut. Charlie Walker is the one that does it. And, you know, and the camera pans away as she's kind of writhing on the ground bleeding. And so you're never really left officially with whether Kirby died or not. I kind of assumed she did, but there was hope that she hadn't, right? And so in the 10 years between 4 and 5, you know, there was an Easter egg in the 5th movie that says interview with Kirby Reed or whatever. And so it was awesome to see that, you know, and that she was still alive. And apparently the actress, Hayden Panettiere, contacted Radio Silence and was like, hey, let's bring Kirby back. Asked to be in the 6th movie, and they got her in, and I'm so glad that they did. Like, she is such an amazing part of this story. She's an FBI agent. She's there to help and kick ass, and she does really, really coolly. There's Dermot Mulrooney. He plays Detective Bailey. There's Ethan, this kind of shy, nebbish kind of guy with big curly hair. There's Quinn. They're kind of, you know, vampy, you know, sultry roommate. There's Mindy's girlfriend, Anika. And then there is the love interest for Sam named Danny, who lives across the apartment complex, and he can see into their apartment, which plays a big part in this, one of the most amazing sequences in all the Scream franchise, where Quinn is being murdered, basically, or so we think, in the apartment, and her body's tossed out, and then Anika just takes this knife to the stomach, and oh my god, like the brutality to guts in this film, like, it's next level. I don't know what our dear writers like have against people's intestines, but holy crap, not only so many people are getting knifed in this, you know, and I don't want to spoil too much, but basically that sequence with the ladder and Anika, the girlfriend, and her begging, I don't want to die, and like the Ghostface shaking it, and her falling, and then their faces and the grief on Mindy's face. It's also good. It's probably one of the most brutal outside of Olivia in Scream 4. I think it's ties with her death as one of the most brutal in the franchise. It is intense. Excuse me. So, yeah, so we have this. Ghostface is back. Ghostface is trying to blame Sam, basically, for the murders that took place. And there's this online rumor that Sam is the one that is killing or killed everybody in Scream 5 in Woodsboro. And she's being basically, she's kind of an outcast, and she's hated and vilified on the internet. And, you know, it's such a great metaphor for everything that the internet does do to people. And the hostility that's created completely unnecessarily against people we don't even know. I'm thinking of you, poor drag queens. Stand tall, stand proud. You're fucking beautiful. Don't let people tell you that you're not, or that you're groomers, or that you're some sort of evil whatever. You're not. You are amazing. The people with those fingers pointed need to look at themselves before they start attacking other people. And I'll drop that there. But it ties in nice with that. It's like people just assassinate others on the internet. And, you know, we need to look at our own houses, you know, and look at what's going on in our own lives before we start attacking other people and blaming other people for basically the problems in our own lives. And I thought that was great. I thought it was beautiful. Again, social commentary. Scream typically does that so well. And, you know, and so Sam and Tara are, you know, Ghostface is at him again. And there is an intense situation with Gale, the Gale of it all. She has an amazing chase sequence in this. I love the fact that she ended up writing a book about the fifth movie, and the girls, Tara and Sam, like, are really angry with her for doing that when she said that she wouldn't. You know, and So Gale basically ends up being targeted for the first time. We end up having like a full long conversation with Ghostface and Gale. It's fantastic. She's in her New York apartment. The sun is set. It's like just intense. I will not say whether she lives or dies. I just say watch it and say prayer. Say a prayer for dear Gale. And so it ends up culminating where you have not just one, like in Scream 3 with Roman, not just two, which is the standard. Almost all the other four have had two killers. Three. This one, you get three. Three bloodthirsty ghost faces are revealed at the end in the shrine, where all the memorabilia from all the other Screams are all laid out, and you discover that like in Scream 2, which I thought was a great tie back to that, because it's like the homage, the kiss that they're giving is to Scream 2 in this one. And it's revenge. The plot is revenge. You murdered my son, and now the only thing that makes sense to me is for me to murder you. And Detective Bailey is revealed as the killer, and his son is Richie Kirsch from the fifth movie. Excuse me. Who Sam brutally dispatched, stabbing 22 times. And there's a great tie-in with Sam and her legacy with Billy Loomis, and that feeling like she's going to become a monster like her father. And I really think that they resolve it in this film. I don't think it's necessary for them to drag that out if they do a seventh, other than her relying on her dad to kind of inspire her in moments of crisis, which he does in this one, and we almost end up having, we almost end up losing Mindy and Chad, but we don't. They will hopefully make it out of this without a colostomy bag. Poor people. It was watching it for the second time in 3D. Not even that 3D was necessary, but just watching it for the second time, I was able to relax more and thoroughly enjoy the film and like the set pieces. Like these guys did such an amazing job with the scenes, like the bodega, the apartment, the ladder sequence, Gale's apartment, the shrine. What else? Like the beginning, like the opening kill. I didn't even talk about that. Samara Weaving. She was so endearing as this poor woman, this assistant professor who's just trying to go out on a date and she can't. Sorry. And she can't, or she's trying to go out on this blind date, right? And so she's at this restaurant and she basically gets lured out and just brutalized in this alleyway. And then, so you think this is the opening. They're going to oh, well, I see red. And the knife comes down or whatever, and it's blood sprays. And you're waiting for the title credits to come up, right? So that's the beginning. Samara Weaving is the Drew Barrymore of this movie. And we're going to move on to Sam and Tara, and we're going to start the main plot. No. Oh, no. So this Ghostface with blood spray on its mask takes the mask off and reveals itself to be Tony Revolori. And then this douchebag who's just killed her changes out of his Ghostface outfit and then stuffs it into a bag and then just goes off and walks. And then not only that, before the title credits, we've run into Tara. He's a fellow college student at Tara's school, goes back to his apartment with his douchebag roommate, and then gets a call from Ghostface off of his roommate's number. And is brutalized, intestines on the outside, his roommate's chopped up into bits. These guys were going to plot their own Ghostface movie to finish Richie's movie, basically, is what they say. And our real Ghostface, let's say, is having none of it. And he's all fuck movies and slices down. And it's terrifying and it's awesome. And then the real credits roll. It's all Scream 6 and it's over the skyline of New York. And it's brilliant. The whole thing was just great. It was really great. I enjoyed it so much more the second time. Scream is just an embarrassment of riches in terms of, as a franchise. I love it so much. They just continue to do so well. For the Sidney of it all, They mention her a couple of times, like in her having her happy ending, and I thought that was really well said by Gale. I love Gale calling out and saying, near after her attack and stuff, and tell them that Ghostface didn't get me, or tell Sidney that Ghostface didn't get me. Sorry, and. And I thought that was really sweet. After everything that they've been through, that would be the thing that she thinks of. It's like, if I'm going to go, I'm not going to go with one of these fuckers in a mask taking me out. Make sure Sidney knows that, they didn't. So I thought that was really good. And then, but I do hope that Neve Campbell, I honor her decision. If she felt that she was being treated unfairly, I respect her as an actor, as a creator, a business person. If she doesn't feel she's being paid her due, respect to you. The character, I felt, was handled with respect and love. And, I do hope that the studio and Neve, God, if you care about such things, which I know you probably don't. But at the same time, just from a beautiful creative standpoint, I do hope that Neve and the studio are able to meet in the middle and come to a conclusion or come to a resolution, and that our Sidney Prescott can be helping to, or can come back to saving the day again, or at least being a part of the story. I love Neve Campbell, and I love her performance as Sidney, so it'd be nice to have her back. I do say that, as much as I love her as a character and as an actress, it was okay. The movie didn't lack for her presence. Sidney's been through it. She's been through 5 movies. Even in the 5th one, she was there to avenge Dewey. I'm going to take some water. I apologize. Ugh. If you notice, I try to drink 128 ounces. It's a lot of water. And it's delicious. Anywho. So, yeah. Her character's been told, you know what I mean? Like 1 through 3 is like that perfect arc of how she got to where she was in the first place. 4 was just her horrible cousin, trying to create a remake, and dragging her into it, basically trying to replace her. And then 5, she gets to revenge, Dewey and what had happened to him. So it would need to be natural, like her bringing back into it. The only thing I can think, I was telling Star when we left this, would be one of my favorite plots would be a Ghostface that's trying to kill all the survivors from the previous 6. So the core 4, Kirby, Gale, Sidney, Mark Kincaid, or her husband, who was the detective in part 3. I love that they're married. I think that's brilliant. And then anybody else that I might not be thinking of that survived these things. Very few people do. So yeah, I am hoping that the writers and the directors get to come back. Radio Silence just nails these. Like, they have such a grasp for creating awesome Scream movies. So I do hope the writers, Guy and James, I believe are their names, and Radio Silence, the directors, who, again, chef's kiss, brilliance, and yeah, Scream 6, baby. I hope you go see it. Go give these guys money. Let's get Scream 7 made. And if it never is made, I'm so grateful for the ones that we do have. I'm trying not to always be like, what's next? What's next? This is, and currently is. And real quick, I do want to say, hats off to the marketing of these. Like, Scream 4, I think, suffered so much because they didn't market it well. They didn't use the internet as well as they could have. There was like a real lack of positive marketing for that film. And starting with 5, these guys have been brilliant. Whoever does the Ghostface online and like commenting on everybody's things, like being so like wink violent, it's really good. It's really well done. The posters are phenomenal. Like, here's 3 versions of these posters, like the apple and the sky, or the skyline, and the gritty alleyway, and like all of these are just so well done. Just the top notch marketing and making these things so much fun. Because I get super excited about these movies when they get announced, and then it just goes from there, and then they start the marketing process like months in advance. and the trailer is like this, as big as the movie itself, and or at least in terms of like excitement and the fandom being so enthralled with it all. So I do want to start doing, I said when I began these reviews that I wasn't going to do a grading system, but I kind of rethought it, and I like the idea of creating my own metrics for it and giving the movie a grade. And then what I want to do at the end of the year is every movie that I've seen, I'm going to go ahead and do my own like kind of Oscars. I'm not too sure what I'll call it, but it's going to be my own little awards thing. And we'll do like best actor and best actress, best writing, best director, and then best film. So we'll just do like the main ones and we'll go from there. I thought that'd be a fun way, but the only way I can really do that is I need to look at the metrics for things and see what I thought, and determined my own ranking system. So that's kind of silly, but it's also a lot of fun. So let's see. So I'm going to do 4 categories. The first one is acting and character. So with Scream 6, I'm going to give that a 9. Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega, Jasmine Savoy Brown, Mason Gooding. Awesome. These guys are so great. Courtney Cox as Gale was amazing. Hayden Panettiere was amazing as Kirby. They all lived in their roles. I felt genuine connection, and I just thought they did such a great job with the film. So, and then their characters are all interesting. Chad was especially charming. I see why they kept him around. He's great. So acting, character work was great. The killers were great, fleshed out, very interesting. So I had a good time with all that. And then so after that, we then would have writing and plot. So actors, characters, I'm going to give 9. Or characters and acting, I'm going to give a 9. So 9 out of 10. And then writing and story, I'm going to give an 8. And the only reason why I'm going to give an 8, because again, this is one of my top Screams. I would place it in, if I was to rank them real quick. So my new ranking is going to be from bottom to top. Well, let's do top to bottom. So my favorite Scream is Scream 2. And then Scream, the original, OG baby. Scream 6 took my third. Scream 4, Scream 5, and then Scream 3. So that's my ranking. So writing, plot, the only reason I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10. And the only reason why I'm doing that is because we're in the 6th movie, right? So it has to borrow heavily on what's come before. And while it's not necessarily lazy, it also prevents you from being able to be super inventive, like overly inventive. Like you're never, like the 10 of story would have been the original Scream. Everything else has been some sort of derision or derivative of that, or borrowing heavily from it, what came before. So I give this an 8. I think they took what they had and made it wonderful. It's really good. It's amazing. So that's an 8. 8's not a bad score in the least. The next would be setting, I'm trying to remember what I said. So cinematography, score, and like scenes, like, I forget the phrase, like setup, or like the scene construction, like the props and costumes and all that kind of stuff. So scene setup, cinematography, score. So basically what actually helps make a movie, like the wrapping of everything. And that I give a 10. They did so well with the New York setting. The scene sequences were so brilliant. Like, again, the apartment and the shrine that Father Kirsch makes for his son and everything. And the subway sequences and the lighting flickering and the blood work, like it was all highly done so well. So 10, easy 10. And then the direction overall, so the creative force of Radio Silence and what the two do, I am gonna tell you their names because I feel like an asshole not saying. It's Tyler. Sorry. Give me a second. Thank you. Okay, so it was directed by Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillette. And then it was written by James Vanderbilt and Guy Busick. And then Kevin Williamson, who was the original writer for 1, 2, and 4, is an executive producer. Courtney's a producer as well. I saw that, so that's awesome. So yeah, so those two, direction-wise, like the creative force behind this one, they nailed it. Like, they nailed it. Not only was it a Scream movie, but it also had a touch of their own, had a total darker, grittier tone to it, but at the same time, like, was still just such a funny Scream movie. Yeah, that's a definite 10. So we've got 9, 8, 10, and 10. So that gives us a score of a 90, I believe. So it's going to be A- is our score for Scream 6. So we give it an A-. And I'm going to do the math. I'm like, isn't an A-? I'm pretty damn sure. I am a little embarrassed, but I don't want to stop filming just to... We're all friends here, right? So it's all good. What the hell? Where's my calculator on this guy? Here we go. So again, we had a 9 for acting, then we had an 8 for writing story, then we had a 10 for direction, and we had a 10 for cinematography score, which was brilliant. Like, it tied back, it had Dewey's theme, and it had Red Right Hand, and had all the old notes from the original movies, plus this new frenzied version to it that just heightened it all. It was so good. Actually, okay, so we have a 92.5 is our score for Scream 6. So that is an A-. So we're going to give this an A-. And yeah, so I would say those are Scream 1, Scream 2, and Scream 6 were all A's easily. And then the others, maybe we could do some other time. But yeah, let me know what you thought. Scream 6. Welcome to New York, baby. All right. Thanks. Bye.